placement game. And will feature from Davao City in the Philippines, Mulatto Pilipinas. And from Vancouver, Canada, Banana Cutters. Just a few minutes ago, our captains met with...
Welcome back to Cincinnati, Ohio for the WFDF World Ultimate Club Championships. Myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Becky Thompson, and also alongside Ryan Purcell, WFDF Athletes Commission Chair. And Ryan, just tell us a little bit about your role on the Athletes Commission. Before we get stuck into this game, Mulatto Filipinas versus the Banana Cutters in the mixed division. Ryan, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role, please.
Absolutely, thanks, Tom. The Athletes Commission was established in 2012 to be a voice of the players on the board of directors. So bringing that perspective of the athletes to decisions about where events are held, formats, anti-doping decisions. We have an election going on this week for 3 of the 6 seats on the commission. Every 2 years at one of our global events, there's a new election for 3 of the seats. So friendly reminder to all the competitors out there to talk to your captains in your team packs. You would have had a voting slip, and those can be turned in at the info desk anytime this week.
And what major decisions, what sort of impact are you hoping that Athletes Commission will have? Is there any sort of examples you can bring of things that you're hoping to change about the way the sport is run at the moment?
So I think it's nibbling at the edges with respect to changes, but in the past, the things that we've gotten involved in are when disciplinary matters, things happen at events where there needs to be decisions made about players and any penalties. They bring in an Athletes Commission member to be a part of that discussion, as well as when we come together for these big global events, we like to have a non-playing workshop or some type of activity learning opportunity. So Spirit of the Game clinics, equity workshops, those types of events, the Athletes Commission have been involved in making them happen.
Excellent. And yourself, as a player, how's your tournament been this week? How has the world's experience been for someone who's looking at it from both sides of the fence?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great event. I'm playing with Austin Double Wide this week, so I'm excited that we're continuing on to the semifinals tomorrow and hoping to come home with a medal. And just looking around the fields, seeing all the different flags billowing in the breeze and different languages being spoken, I love it. It's so great to reconnect with players from all over the globe and to see the sport growing the way it has been.
And your career as a player, just drifting in and out of these Worlds events every year, meeting new friends and creating new relationships with players from around the world. Can you just talk about what that means to you as a player and how you're hoping that the Athletes Commission can sort of help grow that world community of ultimate players?
Absolutely. Well, by way of a story, 12 years ago I was sleeping on the couch of some of the Melbourne heads of state boys as they were just starting up as a club, and now seeing some of them in leadership positions on the Australian ultimate scene. It's really great to see the next generation of leaders step in to carry the sport forward and continue to build on the great foundation that we have.
Thank you, Ryan. We're going to go down onto the field now for the opening point of this game. Becky is sitting next to me and ready to take over the microphone. Ryan's going to stick around for just the first point or two, get his perspective on this mixed division game. Mulatto Pilipinas and the Banana Cutters from Vancouver. Banana Cutters have been going for 10 years, self-coached by the players. And in the backfield, Victor Chen has it. Deep shot going up straight away. Pilipinas reading it better, but not able to make contact with the disc as it goes overhead and reacting first. William Liu with a pass.
It was well read by that female defender at the back of the stack. She did everything right until it came to touching the disc.
Don't know whether she took the eye off the disc there, Ryan.
It could be. I'm watching the Jumbotron here to see if I can check it out, but missed that.
Eventually running through, Erin Daly reacting first with a sprint into the end zone. Easy first hold, 3 passes from the Banana Cutters.
The wind has shifted slightly. It's a little bit more upwind, downwind. I feel like on the showcase fields this week it's been more of a crosswind. And now we have the upwind, downwind going. You can see the flags in the background.
And the fields this week, Ryan, we've seen this incredible venue at the Lebanon Sports Complex. So much space. I've never seen so many Frisbee fields on one site before. But how has it been as a player? What's the surface like to play on?
You know, they've held up pretty well. They're quite firm. Earlier in the week, I think they had gotten some rain over the weekend, and so footing was a little bit tricky. But considering the fact that we haven't had much rain all week and lots of sun, they're firm, but they've held up. I think they've done a good job with the fields.
Oh, the Fulcrum Media Skycam just trying to show you some of the scale of this place. And every single one of the over 1,000 games that's going to be played here in Cincinnati this week will have its own story, its own moments and highlights. But here, with their first offensive point, Mulatto Pilipinas.
Good spacing from the Philippines team.
That disc through the middle of the stack. And it's in the hands of Francisco. Saw him earlier this week. A big player for the Pilipinas team.
A little bit of miscommunication there on the reset.
Banana Cutters with a chance for a first break of the game. Hoy.
The deep cut coming from the handler space.
And Hoy moves the disc across to Wong. Wong down the line. Hoy cuts back, maintaining possession. Lots of good cuts coming out. Mulatto always a step behind. Wong now. Hoy making the play. There's a mismatch somewhere. Someone's dropped a defender. Nice lefty to Wong. Getting very close in the red zone now. Hoy cuts, but the reset across the field is available. Good running from Mulatto to stop that continuation pass. Yun.
Nice break around the mark.
Lovely low release disc. Yun again and Hoy. Nearly into the end zone. Zhao. And right at the back, lurking and ready to catch. Like there's a call on the play.
I didn't see it. It looks like perhaps a push off by the thrower. We're seeing some communication at the mark.
No contest on the foul.
Tap back in. Looking for a way through for the Banana Cutters for their first break of the game. Hospital pass right on the emergency bailout.
I guess they wanted to keep me in the commentator's booth for a little bit longer. Forcing the disc in there.
Deep shot downfield, chasing hard, but the disc is drifting out on the wind. The breeze causing a few handling errors. The fields have seems to have worn pretty well, considering the amount of play they've had on them this week, Ryan.
I agree. We were just talking about that in the WIFTF tent, whether or not, you know, in future editions we would need to come out and water if we're not getting any rain, or even roll the fields. And I do think there are some places or fields around the venue that could benefit from that. But having played on the showcase field yesterday, these fields look like they're in pretty good shape.
Banana Cutters from Vancouver in the white shirts against Mulatto Pilipinas in the yellow and blue. With Wong into the end zone, and Lam collects. Collision between two players.
Very nice catch to finish that point.
They get up, and it's all civilized down there. 2 points to Banana Cutters to kick this one off.
Well, thank you for having me, Tom, and thanks for sharing the headset.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Ryan Purcell from the WFDF Athletes Commission. He's going to take the headset off and pass over to my colleague and colour commentator for the first half of this game, Becky Thompson, Communications Director for Ultimate Canada, and someone who's familiar with this Banana Cutters side. Becky, tell us a little bit more about the team from Vancouver.
So this team, Tom, they've been around, as you said, for about 10 years. They started as a rec team. They've played league together for several years now in the Vancouver scene. A lot of them played for competitive men's and women's teams, deciding it was time to take that to a competitive mixed scene. And their first year as a team, they finished 4th at the Canadian National Championships last year, and happy to have that 4th bid to be here this week.
Do you know the origin of the name?
I do not know the origin of the Banana Cutters name, Tom. That is something I could try to find out for us, but
well, they've not told us on their information they provide. All the players and the teams have been brilliant at providing us with information about their background. 128 teams, and even the most experienced of our commentary crew are finding lots of new faces and new stories to tell you about on our broadcast, and we've done so with the help of the players themselves, filling in their information online. Nice movement from Mulatto, but now they're clamped on the sideline as this Banana Cutters zone defense takes shape. With the disc currently is Paulino. Moving. So it wasn't Paulino. It was Paulino, Brian Paulino. Into the end zone, Mulatto score their first hold to toe. They still trail by 1.
yeah, and Pilipinas there starting to work up the disc a little bit better. They're starting to find a bit of their groove. You never want to go down 2 breaks at the start of the game, but a good response there from their O-line, Tom.
That's Vancouver 2, Davao City 1.
And news from the tournament organising committee. An unusual place to report this news, but I'm going to report it anyway, that the party has moved. The party has moved a day earlier. Apparently thunderstorms were forecast for Friday night, which was the original slot for the party. And instead the party is going to take place this evening. The World's Party, always a big highlight for many of the players, the volunteers and the staff at these tournaments. And I know the commentary team and the media crew looking forward to letting their hair down. We've got 2 more days of live action to bring you from Cincinnati. All our semi-finals will be streamed tomorrow, and our 3 finals with Evan Lepler and Ian Toner bringing you the men's final. Hannah Pendlebury and Robin Wiseman bringing you the women's final. And the mixed final with myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Amy Fitzgerald. And Becky Thompson and Liam Grant doing the Ulti show alongside Charlie Eisenhood. It's going to be an exciting day of coverage from those big World Ultimate Club Championship finals. Banana Cutters with Vu and Cheng combining. Vu has it back now, moving the disc around. Both of these teams playing a zone defense, not marking one player for one player. Chen has it. Cheng to Lu. The tall #1 shirt with a scuba into the end zone. The 2 players who've exchanged the disc more time than any other in this point do so again once more for the final shot into the end zone. Victor Chen happy to see that scuba land in his hands. And Lu, look at the high release flick. Watched all the way in, run down for the point. Back with more in a moment.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Nick Lynn on the pole for Banana Cutters.
You see the inflatable assault course and a big spinning stick keeping the players entertained on the far side of the field. Down here on the grass. Mulatto Pilipinas. High grab from Tuvila, one of the outstanding players. Big bid, contact made. No fuss made by Julia Xiao. Just jumps up.
Julia Zhao, a great defensive player as well. Played on the U24 mixed team in Perth, Australia this year for Canada. Always coming up with big defensive blocks, and that one's not going to shake her up at all.
Hui, heavily involved so far. He has the disc in hand again, sends the deep shot downfield, reads and grabs. Foot either side of the line. Quick reactions from Kevin Chan to score that. Banana Cutters on the D roll. 4-1, they lead.
Banana Cutters starting to find a little bit of their groove. They've gone up 4-1 here at the start of this game. And the winner of this game, Tom, will play off for 17th. So both teams really wanting to get into that game. For Mulatto, a chance to beat their seed coming into this tournament as well, which is definitely always something you want to accomplish. And you can see now taking a timeout to try to make some adjustments to this quick Banana Cutters offense.
Oh, the mixed division has thrown up all sorts of interesting mixes, but this Mulatto Pilipinas team crept into the mixed division almost unannounced. No one was really paying much attention, and they've really been an outstanding side here, maybe meeting their match in this game. With so many teams across so many different divisions, keeping track of all the different brackets that these teams are playing off in can sometimes be a bit of a challenge, but we're doing our level best to bring you news and action from across the different divisions.
Yeah, and earlier this week we saw Mulatto Pilipinas take down Anchor, the top seed from Canada, 15-13. A shock loss there for Anchor. They did not expect that to happen. So that goes to say that this Philippines team does know the Canadian style. They've taken it down once, so they should be able to make some adjustments, especially to stop the deep game here.
And to get into this game, Pilipinas beating Vanguard in Universe Point 15-14 and beating Shinshu Lucen, another really close game, 15-13. Banana Cutters have beaten Macondo from Colombia, and they've also beaten Smog from the UK, 15-9 and 15-11 the scores in those two games. And this is for a place in the 17th place playoff game, which is once the teams are out of the top 16, 17th place is the closest they can get. So it's the best of the rest. And a lot of teams, they played a round of 32 in the mixed division. So once you'd lost that round of 32 game, you'll still have 4 more matches to play before you find an eventual resting place, an eventual final ranking. So not an easy end to the tournament. A lot of competitive teams, including the two in front of us right now. Tuvila. She has it back again, Jean Tuvila. Shoots into the end zone, a pick called.
Disc is coming back to Jean Tuvila.
And the disc goes to ground. Banana Cutters with another opportunity.
Ryan Hoy over to pick up for Banana Cutters.
Hoy. Banana Cutters throwing the deep shots. That's a great disc. Arcs nicely. No float on it. Pinged downfield. Lee with a float across the front of the end zone. Banana Cutters looking for their 5th point of the game, and they find it. Nicholas Lynn at the front of the end zone.
And Banana Cutters working it up from a very late stall count throw as well. That huck that came up from Zhao had to come up as there was no other opportunities under. At that point, making it a perfect throw, and to be able to execute on a late bailout opportunity is a very valuable weapon for any team as well.
The Vancouver ultimate scene is one of the most vibrant cities in terms of ultimate participation. Becky, just tell us a little bit about how many players are active in Vancouver, and the forms of the different types of leagues that the city has to offer.
Vancouver has a number of different recreational leagues you can enter. Primarily, everybody plays in the Vancouver Ultimate League, the VUL. You can play any night of the week, 7-on-7. We've got 5-on-5 turf all through the winter as well. And really, our community and our ultimate base is in big part to the junior programs that Vancouver's been able to build. We have over 500 youth players trying out for club teams, with 11 teams in both the junior men's and women's divisions competing, trying to get those bids to nationals. So the scene, very competitive and constantly growing, Tom.
And the successful growth at grassroots level, giving no shortage of top quality players available for these club sides traveling to the World Championships. Pilipinas with quite an odd approach to tackling this zone, but they've made their way through it now very effectively. Lim passes back. The zone melts into a one-on-one. Guerrero across the field and into the front, and Lim catches for Mulatto Pilipinas.
You could see how early Lim started that cut as well from the open side of the end zone and continued it all the way across for that score, trusting that that swing was coming across, and nicely done. Times it perfectly for the goal.
Just looking down the Pilipinas roster and the stats from the week, Antonio Francisco leads the stats board with 34 assists and 16 goals. And Tuvila with 20 goals, 5 assists. And the pull from Mulatto Pilipinas disappears out of the side of the field. Banana Cutters. Midfield. Disc back to Cheng. And across to Sun. High disc requires a high grab from Wang. Now with Cheng. Fluent movement down into the end zone. A big high bid came in, but it could not be stopped. And a pick is going to be called further back on the play. Daly.
Daly very excited to have skied the defender there, and you could hear her yell "no" after the call was made, really wanting to make that play.
There's Collins coming in on for the big block. Didn't get there. Oh, it was a travel call back here. So our game advisors getting involved. And the whistle blown by our game advisors. The time for the discussion is over. The players get back on with the game.
Just back to Victor Cheng after the travel call. Christian Guerrero on the mark.
Nearly into the end zone. Banana Cutters looking for their 6th point of the game. And that short ball offense so effective against the Mulatto zone. They're comfortable playing it, comfortable in possession, and they work their way up the field.
Yeah, and Pilipinas there holding their zone all the way into the end zone, but an easy dish here from Banana Cutters for the score.
If you want to be a high performer, eat like one. Start with a balanced diet and drink plenty of water. Good nutrition is one of the best ways to boost your mental and your physical health.
You see our scorekeepers and our volunteer team and volunteer crew spread right across this tournament. Just coordinating all of them, giving them a chance to experience the tournament. They are a critical part of running a World Championships. All the teams very grateful for their assistance. Mulatto Pilipinas from the Philippines. Shooting deep, chasing hard, pressure underneath this. And defensive pressure perhaps sucking in the offensive receiver a little bit too early on the jump. Just goes overhead, Becky.
Yeah, and Cañedo there had the positioning in order to come down with that disc, but couldn't find the space between the two defenders, as you said, sucking him in just a little bit, and sometimes that's all it takes to pull that offender into the wrong space so they can't make a play.
It's a game to 15. And Banana Cutters making a great start to the game. Sidearm throw to Wong. Wong down the line, continues through Hoy into the end zone. And Nicholas Yun completing that set of passes down the far wing. Banana Cutters striking after strike after strike. And Yun completes the flow in the end zone.
And Banana Cutters always have an open under option right now. Mulatto's gonna have to find some adjustment to take away that undershot. We've seen Banana Cutters able to go deep and strike under, but working it up all the way up the field before this shot from Samson Hoy opens up into the end zone. Nick Young right into his hands.
see the disc curling around the defender actually closer to the sideline, but when the disc is flighted the way Samson Hoy put it on there, just enough weight, just enough height, just enough curl to go around the defender and into the path of the receiver. Textbook. It's all right having a system, but being able to execute it through an entire team, pass after pass, you know, there's not a lot of wind out here today, but it is a factor. And when the discs are needing to be right in the spot and the whole team are working, great to see the banana cutter offense working so fluidly. And they're spreading their assists and points across the whole team, everybody involved. I don't think everybody's got. The people with the stats have only got one stat each, apart from William Vu, who has 2 assists. Good distribution around the team. Mulatto. Again, defensive pressure from banana cutters. Mulatto not able to get themselves into stride. And Vu comes to disc, looking to close out this first half. In less than half an hour, banana cutters have looked the stronger side. Disc goes up, Vu's underneath it. This time the receiver, can he toe the line? Where are his feet? He signals a goal. And Mulatto agree. Becky, what was your view?
Hard to tell from my angle. Definitely tried to trail the back foot into the line. We'll see on this second shot here. Tracking it down.
So close. The back foot was in field, but it's the timing of the grab. What we decide is irrelevant. The players have given it as a point, but let's have a look at this replay again. 1 foot is on the ground there. His hand touches, the foot comes up. Yeah, it is a point. Yeah.
It's a great grab from Will Vu, and I think a couple of cheers there. Some of the players just saw that on the Jumbotron as well, so excited to see that that was indeed in.
It was a legit point. It's the one really nice thing about having the technology able to help the players. The Jumbotrons on both of the 2 show fields, field 22 and 23. Here, the Fulcrum Media Skycam soars above. You can see the Ohio WUCC sign. All the players taking chance to sign their name on the Ohio map. We'll be back with more from Cincinnati in just a moment.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome,
regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds.
And even defy gravity.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
My name is Eileen Murray, and I am here volunteering as one of the leads for the Spirit of the Game group. The athletes all have this shared value system that they are playing under and striving for. The Spirit of the Game really creates this really great atmosphere of camaraderie. It's super important to the international community, especially going forward in these events. And so we've come on board to try to just help, explain, just watch, make sure people are doing well. And so helping people understand how do you really give people feedback that helps them as a team grow and learn how to incorporate Spirit of the Game in effective ways. After every game, there are always spirit circles where both teams come together, they go every other player, and they talk about the things that happen in the game, and then typically what happens after is they exchange gifts that are unique to their either city or country. Also increase the camaraderie as an international ultimate community. So the game advisors are just here to help the athletes interpreting the rules, or if there's a particular question about anything that happens, it's really nice to have the objective person out there who you can confer with and ask, and really helpful to have them because it keeps the games going. The conversations have to stop, you have to make your point, and then you have to move on. People are being really respectful and working really hard at trying to make sure that disputes are taken care of very quickly and respectfully. Our use of the game advisors along with the player self-officiation is something that makes this sport super unique and really fun to play and watch.
You see our game advisors here. One of the core values of Ultimate Frisbee is the spirit of game. It is taught as just one would learn, as one would learn to throw. And here at World Ultimate Club Championships 2018, the WFDF has put the highest emphasis on spirit of the game and is using game advisors in select games, just as the one we've got on camera here, to support the players in self-officiation as effectively and efficiently as possible, while keeping players responsible for making and resolving all the game calls. And the first half we've had with us Becky Thompson, from the communications director from Ultimate Canada. But we're going to have a new colour commentator in the second half, Becky. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. It was a pleasure to be here.
And Becky's going to take a step down from the scaffolding tower. And Chris is going to come up and join us in just a moment. The players from Mulatto, Pilipinas and the Banana Cutters are competing in this 17 to 24 bracket, trying to get themselves into that 17th, 18th place final. It's the highest position that people can get into once they've been knocked out of the top 16. The mixed division had 6 teams, 8 pools of 6 teams. The 4th place and 5th place teams were crossing over, and then from there it was just a straight round of 32, round of 16, round of 8, semis and finals. And once the team has been knocked out, if they were knocked out in that first round of 32, as these two teams were, then this is the journey to the highest place they can take. The players are throwing, Skycam watching. I'm joined in the commentary box. Just introduce yourself, Chris.
Sure, Chris McGlynn. Here this week, just enjoying what I possibly can be at what has been a fantastic World Ultimate Club Championship so far from New Jersey. So not too much of a trek out here for me, but had to make the trip when it was something that I would see. Don't know when this is going to happen again. We don't know when this is going to be such an accessible tournament. Last time around, obviously, being in Lecco, Italy, this was a little bit easier for me to make it to.
Okay, and where do you play your Ultimate? Where do you? I think it's not your first time in the commentary box, Chris.
No.
Tell us a little bit about your commentary experience.
Sure. So I have played with Garden State in New Jersey. I also played at Syracuse University for college, which was a lot of fun. I actually just graduated, so I finished up my last year there. It's definitely going to be weird not going back and playing college Ultimate this fall. I don't know how I feel about that quite yet. I think that won't hit until the fall really rolls around and I don't go back. But yeah, it's not my first time in a commentary box. I've been doing a number of New York Empire games this year with the AUDL, and alongside Akshat Rajan, who does some great work on YouTube, been doing the New Jersey High School State Championships for the last 3 years, which has been really cool. They did a really neat thing. They started moving the game, the championship game itself, to the Thursday after the actual tournament to have it in a stadium-like atmosphere. It's been really neat. They've drawn about 300 fans every year to go and watch a high school Ultimate game. And the level of play is fantastic. It's 2 really good programs usually, and the games have been close. This year, absolutely phenomenal. Massive second half comeback from Columbia High School, birthplace of Ultimate, actually, in New Jersey. So they pulled off an incredible comeback. Unfortunately, it was against my alma mater, Westfield High School. So a little disappointed to see them go down, but still a great game overall. Ended up being 13-12 final. So great overall. It was a lot of fun.
And the two teams in front of us here, Mulatto Pilipinas and the Banana Cutters from Canada in this semi-final to get into the 17th place final. On the other side of the bracket, Urasol from Colombia and Reading Ultimate from Great Britain. But Pilipinas starting on the far side of the field, and a defensive formation. It's like a little bit of a loose poach to begin with. They've tightened up the marks now after the first couple of passes have initiated.
Talking to Banana Cutters earlier, got us a bit of a sense. Tend to run mostly person defense. Tend to only run a 3-man cut, potentially a 4. Not really too fond of those junk looks though. Like to stick to some pretty basic defenses.
Canedo through to Tuvila. Nolek. Back to Castor. Castor flowing across the field now to Canedo again. This is better from Pilipinas. Into the end zone. Tuvila the target. She's going to have to work hard and just cannot close down the disc.
It's a good decision there, I think, overall. It's a little bit tough, though, of a throw. I think the lane was there, but you needed more of an OI throw there. Definitely tailing away from the receiver in the end zone, making it extremely difficult for the receiver to have any chance at that.
Banana Cutters coming to the line. Lin, Yun, now with Huyn. Downfield, great cut out of the stack from Lin. Flowing up the line to Hong.
Oh, that has to hurt. Getting cleated like that, you see, right there, hopping around, little bit of pain. Not a fun situation. I've been there before.
Wendy Lin getting her toes stamped on, shakes that off. Disc back in. High disc, had to reach up and get it, did so. Lin moving the disc once more, and that's an overthrow. Pilipinas reading it better, and a turnover. And Antonio Francisco sending it deep straight away. Great boxing out from the Mulatto player. Slowed his run. No way the Canadian defender could get there, and having done all of that hard work to get the deep shot under control, gets the congratulations from the 10 shirt of Brian Wynn, who nothing he could do to get that disc. Great bit of control there, Chris.
Castor, excellent job getting in front of it early on. You see the overthrow here. Good read overall there. I think that was a really nice play defensively. And then, of course, Castor getting positioning here. Interesting decision here. We haven't seen a whole lot of deep shots. Seems like Mulatto, for the most part, likes to play small ball. And then, of course, punching it in with a small ball look. Castor coming all the way across the field to finish that one. Strong to the start to the second half, though, for Mulatto after what was a little bit of a forgettable first half. Certainly not one that the team would like to dwell on, but a good start here, getting the hold on offense, especially in that fashion. Gives you a little bit of confidence, completing that deep huck, and now having the ability to punch it in as well, going to that break side.
Yeah, just the first, only 2 offensive holds in the first half, the difference between these sides. Banana Cutters punishing wayward discs.
Excellent floating pull. Looks like we're going to get another zone look here.
Hoy initiates to Lam. Mulatto pushing the Banana Cutters back. Cross field to Cheng. From Cheng. Cheng's available now. Has it. Looks into the end zone. Sees the fast cut of Ryan Sun. Disc goes to ground. Sun tries to collect.
Tough bit of work there. Sun laying out, unable to actually bring it in. Just a little bit too much pace on that throw. The wind doing just enough to knock that down.
Coming back up the line, Manguera sends the big disc upfield.
Well out of play.
Guerrero not able to control the disc. Was it a contact made on the play?
Some sort of call. I actually think it was before the throw. Didn't seem like it was something that affected the throw, but I believe Mulatto is trying to argue that it should come back and stop play. It seems like it might just do that.
A game advisor on the field. Ultimate self-officiating sport. There's no referees here. The game advisors are here to provide advice only if they're asked to. And even when they're asked to, sometimes they'll insist that the players have the conversation between them first.
True, and to tap all that off, the game advisor is not able to actually make active calls even when referred to. It's just a little bit of advice, a little bit of guidance, clarification on rules, and potentially an insight on what they saw during the play.
They can offer their perspective, can't they?
Exactly, nothing more than that. Not quite like what I'm sure a lot of North American viewers are used to seeing with observers in the United States, where if they go to the observer will actively make the call. Game advisors instead just providing the perspective. Seems like this is going to be contested there as we've hit the time limit on the discussion between the two.
Offering the hand.
Nice little handshake there. Spirited conversation ending.
Disc going up, being read well. Got fingertips to it, but it's still in Mulatto possession. Collins has it. Looking for a way through. Floats it into space. Good eye connection between Collins and Guerrero. Guerrero into the end zone. Collins with the one-handed high grab, and it's going to come back for a call on the play.
Believe we're going to get a stall call here on the mark. Stall call certainly rising there. It seemed a little quick to me, but I think he got that off in time. And it's going to end up coming back once again. It's a great grab by Collins. Shame that won't stand, but excellent read and to go up there and catch it high.
He's been dominant on defense and on offense. That shot from Guerrero, low release, raking across the field to the far corner. Mulatto using the full toolbox, and they're back within 4 with a hold and a break in the second half. Better play from the team from the Philippines.
Unbelievable shot right there. That's a difficult throw to hit. A little bit of wind going straight at it and getting it into a tight space there as well as Banana Cutter is going to close down that angle, but still managed to get in there. Manguera with the goal. This is a Mulatto team that has really struggled to put numbers on the field, missing a number of key contributors to this squad. As about 70% of the team actually not able to attend the tournament due to visa issues. Managed to pick up a number of pickups for Worlds that had some sort of tie to the team, but for the most part, they're missing a good chunk of the roster that should be here in attendance for this team. But looking strong in the second half, two breaks. That's the first break of the game as well for Mulatto. Is looking like they're getting back on track.
It was the news story coming into the tournament. We were wondering how strong the Mulatto team would be, having lost some of their big players. And they fought really hard in pool play. Unfortunately, losing that round of 32 game.
Ended up with a really tough matchup there. They ended up having to get Groot from the Netherlands. Really odd that Groot ended up in that place in the first place, talking to some of the players on Mulatto. Couldn't believe that they managed to draw that matchup. Lost by just a couple. Ended up having to play in this 33rd place bracket.
Yeah, no one wants to find Groot anywhere in the tournament.
Absolutely not. Groot ended up making it to the quarters, of course, losing today to Wildcard, but that's a really strong program with a lot of chemistry and experience, and they were not a team that probably should have even been playing in that spot, so just an unfortunate draw, really, for Mulatto.
Yeah, Groot losing 3 of their pool games to Reading and Wildcard. The two teams battling out. We've seen zone defenses from both sides in this game, Chris.
And it's just enough wind that it really probably dictates that. It's probably necessary, trying to take advantage here. A little surprised that Mulatto continues to go to it. I think Banana Cutters, in terms of just actual human bodies, what they can put on the field in terms of depth, has a little bit more. So the zone thing, I think, allows Banana Cutters to rest and really doesn't give them much of an advantage from Mulatto. They end up running the same cup out there over and over again. It's tiring playing out there when they're swinging. The teams are swinging back and forth.
Hoy has it for Banana Cutters. Center of the field, almost on the brick mark. A tall figure of William Vu.
Now, Banana Cutters telling me that Vu pretty much has a green light to take whatever shot he would like. Tends to like some of those over-the-top throws. We've seen a number of them in the first half. Wouldn't be surprised if we get another one soon here.
Hoy to Vu. That's a tall, towering disc. Swings around, but the mispositioning of the body from Annie Wang can't connect. Mulatto with an opportunity for another point in the second half.
Going for a second straight break after not having any in the first half.
They're working their way back into this game and showing so much more care than they did in the first half, Chris, with when they have disc in hand.
Talking to some of the Mulatto players during that first half, they said they really like to play small ball. They like to play short. They don't like to take too many deep shots. And I think we saw them get away from the game plan they like to run with. They got them a little bit uncomfortable.
And there we see them running it right the way into the front of the end zone.
Going to get another pick call, though. More discussion being had here.
A little bit of tension building up, do you think, between these two teams?
It looks like it. I think Banana Cutters not expecting Mulatto to come out here with the amount of passion and energy they have. And that's going to stand in the end. Good spirit there as the call is rescinded. Mulatto will have the goal, but I think Mulatto coming out here right now and playing with a lot more energy than a team down 8-2 usually would at halftime.
So a clean hold followed by 2 breaks. The perfect start to the second half from the team from Southeast Asia.
Just a little bit too much on that first throw there. Getting underneath the disc, popping it up in the wind. The up line here, setting up the cut across. And there was a little bit of traffic there. I can understand the confusion, but in the end, I think well and away, you had spacing there for the Mulatto cutter. Not surprised at all that that ended up being rescinded.
Banana Cutters only with 1 turnover for the entire first half. And in the second half, they've had more than that. Well, they've had 3 times more than that. And Mulatto punishing them every time.
Interesting here. I think we got a timeout now from Banana Cutters looking to try and adjust after a really difficult start to this half.
Our Sky Cam, you see the Ohio WUCC sign at the end. The merchandise tent and social village that's been set up here at the Lebanon Sports Complex for the week. You can see myself and Chris waving. You see our arms waving? We're in the scaffolding tower over to the side. Alongside Kate Yeske, who's been an absolute legend with the stats all this week. If you're ever wondering how we remember how many breaks and scores and turns there has been during the game, we don't.
My memory is not that good.
No.
Just admittedly not.
Kate is using our commentary source system to enter all those stats for us. And we just read the screen.
Makes it much easier on us.
It is hot and sunny up here.
Certainly so, yes. You're on the side over here that's kind of in the sun. We have some cover here from the scaffolding, but not quite enough right now as the sun starts to set here in Lebanon.
And this venue is used for college championships as well, isn't it? Chris, have you been here before?
I have not been here before. I do believe, yes, it was used for the college championships just a couple of years ago. I think 2014 and 2017, both times they ended up using this for the U.S. college championships. I do know it was definitely 2014, talking to a couple of friends saying that that was the year that Colorado Mama Bird won in the men's division, and notable because Jimmy Mickle was on that team. Jimmy Mickle, of course, back now playing with Australia's Colony, getting a big win today over Ring of Fire. So people have a memorable experience of Jimmy Mickle at these fields already.
Down on the field, Banana Cutters looking to have their first offensive point of the game without a turnover. They've struggled in the second half against a rejuvenated Mulatto Pilipinas.
Much better look here so far. Patient offense.
Vu and Hoy at the back. Two handling anchors. Swinging across to Lam as available. The 1 and the 8 shirt just looking for each other at the moment. Lam still lurks on this wing. Had a look and then threw a really dodgy disc. Jean Tuvila rises, but the tall figure of Samson Hoy gets there first. Through the center of the cup. That's a good line. Back to Vu. Chance for Mulatto to reset. They're getting closer to the end zone. Working up the full field. Lots of passes. Right across the field. Hoy works hard. Gets there just inside the sideline. Sprinting across is Lam. Lam the target. No, in the back of the end zone. Lurking is Adriana Rowe, who catches that one. Patience from the Banana Cutters and their first hold of the half.
One of the tricky things about playing zone is you get towards the end zone there. You see the throw over the top, finding just a little bit of open space. No one tracking where Rowe was. Finding the open space in the back of the end zone, towing the line well. In the end, no one near. We actually didn't even realize it was going to her when the throw went up.
Yeah, she was ever present back there, and I think there's one thing to note about playing against the zone is you do need to have somebody that's pulling the back of the zone away downfield, and Rose probably got a pretty thankless task just running backwards and forwards out there, seemingly not involved in the point, but she's actually creating all the space for the rest of the team to work with, and eventually the handlers moving the disc side to side enough and creating that opportunity for Hoy to strike into the corner.
It's a vitally important role. I know it's not one that a lot of players enjoy and embrace, but when it's done well, it really makes the difference for zone offense. You don't have that stretching. It allows those wing players to start to pinch in. Middle of the field becomes extremely difficult to attack to. Makes it a lot more challenging to move the disc, and it lets the zone defense settle in. Great view from the sky cam here. Pull almost sailing out of play, just keeping it in bounds, Mulatto.
Mulatto on the brick mark, looking to swing the play backwards and forwards. Out to the wing, Tuvila.
Nice little flip.
Tuvila making the cut through and spotted. Deep shot downfield. Oh, that is a beautifully weighted pass all the way into the end zone. Nothing Banana Cutters could do about it. Raises his hands in frustration, the Banana Cutters defender. Great play.
Antonio Francisco with the throw. Francisco getting a little bit of space here and getting a chance for an inside flick. Almost knocked away there. Banana Cutters coming with a little bit of help, but weighted it perfectly, as you said, Tom, and right in the back of the end zone, making it easy on the cutter. It's fun to run onto those ones. Take another look at it here.
It's arcing away, but ever so slightly.
Put a lot of spin on that. Weighted it well. Downwind as well gives you an opportunity to run onto that. A lot of the times we'll see those discs get pushed down, especially when they're thrown truly inside out, but enough of that OI tilt on it just to let it sail on the wind a little bit, sit down, and get an easy run on there. You saw Paulinho bringing that one in.
Yeah, Brian Paulinho. So they're back within 3.
We have ourselves a game.
Yeah, we do. It didn't look like we were going to have that at the start. Very, very one-sided first half. Vu with it now. Finds the gap through to Hoy. Hoy spreads the play to the far side of the field. Back to Hoy now. Swinging across to Lam. Mulatto Cup coming around to take away the 360 angle all the way around, but Lam was patient, unfazed by that. Vu runs across. That's great work from Vu. Just running the center of this and then opening up the whole field with the scuba to the end zone. And a takedown in the far corner. Again, we see the banana cutters stretching this zone, giving the options to the handlers. And when they find them with discs like that, it's really high quality ultimate. Erin Daly with the catch in the end zone.
Very difficult there for sure, as we see a great off-handed scuba as well. We'll take a quick break right now. Banana Cutter is getting back on track here with a beautiful throw to the end zone against the zone.
Do you want to avoid overuse injuries? Cross-train. Get your exercise routine out of a routine and mix it up with a variety of activities. Your muscles, tendons, and joints will thank you later.
Erin Daly was the scorer of that last point. From Newfoundland, Canada. Becky Thompson, the communications director from Ultimate Canada, did say, do point out Erin Daly is from Newfoundland, because it's not a place that you get a lot of high quality Ultimate players coming out of.
Not quite yet. Maybe we'll see that change in the future.
Distribution across field from Mulatto. Rejuvenated in this second half. They still trail by 4. But can they get back into the game? Collins. Nolak has the disc in hand again. Quick change of direction from Liban.
A lot of contact there on that up line for sure. The two colliding there. It was good physical defense, good positioning, but I think a little bit too much contact on the up line cut. So far though, we're seeing pretty good flow from this Mulatto offense, especially on this point, but really in the second half in general, looked a lot more comfortable.
Foul contested. Nolek flicks it high. Again, pressure from Banana Cutters. Both teams finding their feet. And a very competitive game is emerging from what looked like a very one-sided first half.
You could see there, Francisco thought about taking another shot to the end zone. We saw him do that before. Ended up holstering that one instead.
Lee. Downfield to Villa. Looking for an option into the end zone. Banana Cutters taking them away as they arrive, but they could not remove that one. Fast cut, accelerating towards the front corner. And it was Castor who managed to get into the front corner, scoring the point for Mulatto. The assist.
See, good job here by Francisco, patiently waiting on the goal line, using those fakes to move the mark, and eventually finding that little window to flip it into. Really hard to be a defender down in that space. It was good coverage for a very long time, and not too far away from getting the block there, Banana Cutters, but it's a little bit tough. Not enough space there for Hoy to get underneath that one and knock it away.
Mulatto Pilipinas won the 2017 Asia Oceanic Ultimate and Gults Championships. They're also regular participants in Manila Spirits 2016 and the Nationals in 2016, and they've also played in the Zone Cup, which is a tournament I admit, Chris, I've never heard of. It's in Vietnam. I'm very much looking forward to their first chance to represent Philippines at a WFDF World Championships.
I will admit I have never heard of that either. I'm not too familiar with Vietnamese Ultimate at this stage.
is one of the exciting things about coming to a World Championships. Is it forces us to step outside of our own little ultimate bubble, whether that's a high school or college or a national or regional or even a continental championships, and just pay attention to what's going on around the world. And different programs coming out of far-flung corners of the world, catching your eye with their strong young talent coming out of those tournaments. Pressure from Tavila, and you see the disc just bobbled off her hand and into the side of her head. I hope she's doesn't get a bruise on her ear from that. But they have a turnover, and Vu chasing down hard to get a turnover back.
It's tough when you're in that situation. You work so hard, you get the D, and then you give it right back.
Vu with a shot deep. Daly chasing and grabs the tail edge of the disc. As it goes to ground, that's a really tricky grab, isn't it? She dived, she caught and dived. She had to commit hard to that disc. It was going away from her, accelerating down towards the ground. She had one shot at it.
Vu here taking absolutely no time, picking that up. And a great standstill huck, putting it out to space. You're right, great grab here from Daly, having to go out there and snag that. It's not an easy grab to make by any means. The disc trailing away, also the spin on it, actually opposite of where her hand would be going there. Going with the left hand would have made it stick easier, but would have been probably a more difficult catch to make. As you can see, Daly doubled over there, feeling that one a little bit after landing on the ground to make the play.
Prefers the sand to the grass. Daly's represented Canada at the World Beach Championships in 2015 and 17. And the top performances, she'd say, was at in Royan in France. She scored 6 goals in a single game.
That's quite the impressive stat line at the very end there. And at a tournament like that as well, World Club Beach, it's no joke. There's a lot of really top athletes there every single year.
We had a fantastic time out in Royan last year in France. Actually, the week after my 40th birthday, and it was like my birthday present.
Oh, there you go.
I had a party with all
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Trip to France ain't bad.
A party with all my family at home, and then a party with all the world's ultimate players out on the beach in the sunshine.
Which was better?
I can't possibly say. I'd offend somebody.
Probably.
Deep shot going up from Pilipinas, chased in hard into the end zone. And the flow that they did not have in the first half has recovered and returned. These two teams have traded on offense in the last few points.
Quick strike here, up line into the field. You see how early you end up taking off there. Lee taking off very early to make that possible. See him in your screen on the in-cut initially, leaving there, getting into that deep space. Lots of separation. Good throw, but really a lot of separation, making that an easy look into the end zone for Filipino.
Yeah, it was Castor for Pilipinas. 27 shirt. There's a 27 on both of our rosters. And
there are.
I've got them mixed up once already as well.
I'm reading the wrong column. I'm learning here. It's a learning experience, as this all is. It's been a fantastic one, too, learning about so many different club teams from all across the world. You mentioned before, teams from far-flung places you'd never heard of. I've been very impressed by a couple of different clubs I'd never known about. Russia's brilliance, the women's division, been an incredible one to watch. They were a lot of fun. And I got a chance to see Germany's Colorado yesterday playing against Philadelphia AMP at the end of the day, round of 16 matchup. And AMP coming out on top in that one, but Colorado have a number of really top-end players, some players that had throws that the players on AMP weren't prepared to deal with, and I don't think that they really understood that a team from Germany would have that level of throwing ability, and really kind of shocked them out early on. AMP ended up going on a bit of a run, getting some separation, but it looked close early on in that one. It was fun.
Now the mixed division has thrown up all sorts of interesting matchups. And German mixed ultimate, we had a streamed game here with Heschliger Erdvierkel against AMP again. They've played all three of the German mixed sides.
They have.
Sugar Mix, Colorado, and Heschliger Erdvierkel as well.
A little bit of contact there. Woo, knocking knees. I believe that's with Lebun from Mulatto. That hurts for sure. It's something I've experienced for sure playing this game. It's incidental, but it happens, and it's a pain in the neck to try and get back up from that and start playing again.
The Banana Cutters, their offense is so crucial at this point in the game. They're 4 points away from the win. Every time they score, they get that step closer. They still have this big margin, which they built up from the first half. Mulatto have got back into the game, but they need to do more work and get another turn, another break. Disc like that high. Wow, what a grab that is from Vu. Extremely good read, and it's Daly again in the end zone. The disc is going to come back, a pick called.
I think that was an offhand high release. Vu really putting on the full display of throws in this one. We're seeing more and more players relying on these offhand throws, but Vu's been one of the first players I've seen this weekend that's done it to the effect that he has in this game. I've seen scoobers, high releases. It's been all over. The arsenal of throws is impressive.
Yeah, opening up the full toolkit, reaching in, see what he's got on display now. He's again looking for that scuba into traffic, back of the end zone, and great defense from Mulatto. Signals that there was no contact made, no foul call comes. Vu, this time throwing garbage, not able to be collected.
Have to see there too. Francisco going up, really impressive play. Didn't see the disc, just happened to stick his hand out, get a piece of it, and knock it away.
I think he was watching the receiver's eyes as that scuba from Vu. High stall count disc to the back of the stack. Never a bad option on that particular occasion. It was cleaned up by some very effective Mulatto defense.
We're gonna get a pick call here right in the middle of the field. I think that should stay where it is, though. I believe there's a lot of separation.
And just watch Collins on this near side, the 24 shirt, bent over double. When this disc comes back in, Francisco will be looking for him, striking deep. Vu's going to be covering that.
He's shadowing it well. I think he wants that throw to go up. We got one in the end.
Did go up.
Excellent find.
It was a great disc in the end, and it was Collins coming out of the way, pulling Vu out of the way as well, allowing the other Mulatto player to cut into that back corner. Francisco's disc skills, though.
I don't think
the big fake.
I think this was more of just a bailout, realizing stall count rising, got to put it up, and what a bailout throw, putting into space there, letting Canedo go get it. I mean, and Canedo all by himself. That's the open side of the field. I know they're all the way over, but as a defender, you have to keep your body positioning on that side, the open side of the field. This is the throw. Vu elevating here to bring this one in. And eventually the scuba, you see him, he's holding, he's waiting for it. The defense, that tips the defense off a little bit, that you're looking to try and put that over the top through. He has the disc held upside down there. And then finally we get another look here at the one. Canedo all by himself. There's no defender anywhere near him.
Yeah, beaten with the fake. Victor Cheng not able to stay with the cut.
That's just, again, going back to the body positioning. Need to stay on that open side. Makes it difficult, especially as the stall count rises. It's hard to play 9 seconds of defense, 10 seconds of defense downfield, but when you're on the wrong side, it allows those things to happen. It allows those bailout throws to be completed easily. Offense even more crucial now as Banana Cutters giving one up there. And another block.
Oh, what a great rescue that is. Unbelievable dive to the ground from Ryan Hoy. Sends it to the end zone. Daly bids, and she couldn't quite carry off the same sorts of feats. Banana Cutters riding their luck a little bit in the midfield, but it runs out when it gets to the end zone. Turnover to Mulatto.
About to say there, I think pressing your luck a little bit, hoping for 2 straight layout saves.
The defensive pressure was what caused that first grab to be required. Ryan Hoy going and laying his body down on the ground, just able to keep the disc alive. And a deep shot goes up again. Not afraid of this deep disc into the end zone, and deadly with the arm. Mulatto with another break. They're getting themselves back into this game. They are back within 1. They lost the first half 8-2. And now they are back within 1, and the team from Philippines looked completely out of it.
Antonio Francisco once again with a massive forehand rip. Great read here. Guerrero getting underneath it, checking his feet, making sure he's in the end zone, just getting himself past that end line. incredible throw there. As you see the initial D. What an effort. I think it's even more impressive after you see you end up having Hoyt go up in the air and then have to land and then dive again to make that play. That's something that's really difficult to do, to land and then leave your feet again to make that effort.
And the disc wasn't flat, it was coming down as a blade, but look at the strength on the arm, saw the cut, knows the throw is there, jump, catch, land, first point of contact into the end zone, and a point for the Philippines. They're back within 2, and Banana Cutters looked like they were going to walk away with this game. We've seen a few one-sided games today here in the quarterfinal, semi-final, whether it's psychological differences or teams that have been saving themselves throughout the tournament now putting on the final spurt of effort. We saw Molly Brown completely demolish Ozone this morning.
I was shocked by that result. And I think Ozone oftentimes will get a little bit overlooked in the women's game, especially in the United States. There are those 4 really good teams at the top. Ozone doing a great job last year to break through, beating Seattle Riot. But unbelievable how Molly Brown managed to take it to Ozone. I really was shocked by the final result. And I think it was a matter of Molly Brown figuring things out. They've not looked sharp at times in this tournament, and Ozone just playing one of the worst games they've had all tournament. And on the other side of that, Seattle Riot rolling through Toronto Sixers. That game probably should have been a little bit closer. It ended up being same scoreline, 15-4.
Yeah. But here, outside of the championship bracket, the action is no less furious. These two teams both lost their round of 32 matches, and they are competing to be the best of the rest. The 17th place spot up for grabs. With such a big round, that round of 32, 17th place spot is going to be hotly competed. So many good teams losing that single game and putting themselves down. The highest they can finish now, the 1-7 spot.
Turnover once again there from Banana Cutters. You notice the cut there, not quite in. It was more at the sideline. Gave the defender a great angle to intercept that.
Tuvila spreads the play, gets knocked off his feet. Vu, a foul is called.
Francisco there, we've seen him put those flicks. He's done very well in this game. That was a little bit more speculative, trying to go completely cross-field into the space. I don't even think anybody was truly taking off there for Mulatto. And I think almost bailed out by that foul. He got very lucky that there was a foul called.
I think he was going to call that foul and probably would have retracted it if the pass had been completed. No one was cutting. You're quite right, Chris.
No one there at all. Timeout called. Veteran move there. Definitely a good decision. An opportunity to tie here. What a comeback this would be. I think we're selling this almost short right now. Mulatto is dead in the water. It's 8-2 at half. They've come back, outscored Banana Cutters 8-3 so far in this second half. Phenomenal showing from Mulatto.
Yes, they never count a team from the Philippines out. They are an ultimate nation that is fascinating to watch wherever they come to a club or world championships. The Boracay Dragons, team from the island of Boracay, where ultimate's almost like the biggest sport that they play. They show up at beach championships with amazing speed and athleticism. But don't count them out on the grass either. Manila Spirits has for a long time been one of the standout tournaments in Southeast Asia. And this mixture of players from the Philippines and players with a relationship to players from the Philippines. They've got a couple of international pickups in this lineup. As Chris was saying, not all of the players able to make the journey across.
Yeah, a number of them running into visa problems there. Really unfortunate to think this team was really strong, won the pool they were in during pool play, ended up obviously losing to Groot, but Groot being a really good team, avoiding that matchup. It's not hard to think that this team could have gone a little bit further in this tournament before getting knocked out. Don't necessarily know that they would have been able to challenge some of the top teams, but had a shot at least.
Into the end zone, big bid, but it's Mulatto ties it up at 11 apiece. Nothing that Banana Cutters could do about it, despite the determination and efforts. The layout bid from Samson Hoyt. And we have ourselves a game in this 17 to 20 bracket semi-final. looking for the best of the rest from the bottom of the round of 32 teams in the mixed division. Mulatto, Pilipinas and Banana Cutters have found themselves the wrong, well, Filipinas found themselves the wrong end of an 8-2 scoreline at half, but they've battled hard in this second half. Big defensive pressure and taking advantage of every bit of the Banana Cutters' errors. Myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Chris. Give us your second name again, Chris.
Chris McGlynn.
Chris McGlynn.
Yes. I know. We're throwing a little bit into this. I know I'm kind of just jumping in here, so no worries there about knowing the last name.
It's great to have you alongside us. Chris McGlynn and Tom Stiles covering this one on a breezy day here.
Starting to pick up as well in the second half. Have to see if it starts to affect some of the play as it goes on. Get a lot of wind feedback on our microphones as well. Certainly can hear it for the viewers at home. We might not be able to feel it like we can right now.
It's about the point where it starts picking up rubbish on the sideline and blowing it across the field, isn't it?
We're getting close to that, I believe.
The flags fluttering, the high clouds in the Ohio skies, providing no cover from the sun.
It's been fun so far. We got some beautiful weather for the most part.
We've been playing storm dodging on a couple of days, but the big shot goes up and there's no dodging the fact that that disc was overcooked.
I think Paula Wong didn't realize that disc was up. She took off there and didn't really ever look like she was trying to track it down. Seemed like she was trying to set up her next cut and realized the disc was in the air. It was just a little bit too late. Speculative choice there to take that shot from Banana Cutters.
Bringing the disc to the line again. Liboun. Running the play through Casta. Down the line to Villa.
Quick movement here. It looks really, really sharp so far for Mulatto. What a throw. That's a tough throw. Backhand around, lots of spin, putting it out to that break side.
I wasn't sure if the target was Joan Lim, but it did find her. To Villa.
Mulatto's momentum looking to carry them here into what would be its first lead of the game. Tied at 11 right now.
To Villa, such a strong player for Mulatto. Leading the stats for the team. The female athletes on their squad. Playing a big part in the success. Patience from Mulatto, and they're having to be patient. The defensive pressure that Banana Cutters are putting them under here. Intense D, every cut is being heavily marked. Running a little low on energy, low in the point, and the connection wasn't quite there. The hands went up for Manguera. Disc a little bit too quick. And has there been some contact made on the throw as well? Vu marking, may have just caught the hands
Guerrero.
Of Kristen Guerrero.
Certainly a tough grab right there. That would have been a tough one for Manguera to bring in, but I think honestly it looked like she got her feet a little bit stuck in the grass. I think trying to make sure she was in the end zone and not really being able to get much lift on that jump trying to bring it in.
I don't know how much contact was made, but it did look like the disc had gone exactly where Guerrero had intended to throw it. He threw it to that front corner, exactly where the Mulatto receiver was.
That's what I think Vu is trying to argue here. I think we're getting a little bit of assistance here. It's going to be a contested foul. I think our game advisor indicating it's going to come back in on stall 6.
It's nice to see the game advisor not required there. The two players is having the discussion, and the game advisors are only there to sort out issues that can't be resolved by the players. A throw over the top, miscommunication between the Mulatto players. Banana Cutters have it once again. Key moments here in the second half. Banana Cutters dominating the first half with an 8-2 lead. Mulatto worked its way back into an 11-all. The situation we're at now. Banana Cutters on the far sideline, in the breeze, swinging the disc, flowing downfield with Hoy. Could not keep control. It's a turnover to Mulatto again. And the weary legs, after the hard running they've already done in this point, come to the disc with Libon. Sends it deep. The target is Castor. The target cannot be found.
That's a little bit ill-advised right there, I think. You've worked so hard to get the D. You get gifted a drop there. And in the end, picking it up and turning it right back over, needing to go back on D. You could see both teams definitely looking tired right now, but as the defensive unit, I know necessarily you want to be able to take those shots. You have more of a green light usually, but you got to value the disc just a bit more than that. Call here going to stop play once again. We've seen a number of cutters for Banana Cutters taking off deep, but Mulatto more than comfortable letting them go, so knowing that they have an opportunity to catch up because of this wind. The wind really picking up. It's kind of straight upwind, downwind. It's going across a little bit, but knowing that any of these hucks that will go up will be hanging there for quite a while.
Our stats at the end of the first half were so one-sided, and now, would you believe, the stats across almost every category are identical. The breaks are 5 from 11 for both teams. Both offensive lines have been broken 5 from 11 times. It's quite a remarkable, the turnaround that Mulatto have managed to engineer in this second half to bring themselves back into this 11-all position. Game tied on a knife edge. Both teams within 4 of the victory. It's a game to 16. Big defense, but Vu doing everything he could. Jumps up high, takes it before the Mulatto player. Guerra had even taken off. He wasn't the target. Didn't matter.
That throw definitely intended for Adriana Rowe. And a great throw hanging up there. Again, talking about that wind, it made it hang for just a little bit. Rowe tracking it, Guerrero getting there, but Vu going up and catching it at its highest point. Oh my goodness, what a grab from Vu. We've seen him do some great things throwing the disc. That time seeing him really show off as a receiver. Take another look at it here.
The height and athleticism and closing speed as well. He had to cover an awful lot of ground just to get himself into the party. And once he got there, dominant aerial performance from the big number 1. Beautiful shots of the flags of the 37 nations flying at the back of the show fields here at the Lebanon Sports Centre. The coverage coming at you throughout the week from the 2 streamed fields, brought to you by the WFDF and also our coverage partners Ultiworld and Fanseat, covering 2 more fields. The most live Ultimate I think we've ever seen from a single tournament in a week. Over 100 games have been streamed this week.
I'll say it has been phenomenal. As a spectator and a fan of Ultimate, I'm happy I'm here, don't get me wrong, but was I not, I think I'd be able to get a pretty good sense of watching all of these games. It's been fantastic with the amount of coverage that Ultiworld, Fanseat, and of course World Flying Disc Federation have all managed to combine to bring at this tournament. And it's such an important tournament too, get a chance to see so many teams from so many different countries. It's been great exposure, I think, for all of those clubs. Almost knocked away there.
Some of the hardest decisions I think any of the broadcast team have been involved in was which of the 30 games in each round do you put on the show fields? You know,
it's difficult. There's been games that have been really good that have not been streamed, but then do you look at it and you're like, how is that game not being streamed? What on earth were they thinking? And then you're like, oh well, okay, now I see why. The decision they made, a good one in the end. Some of the games, including this one, been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see this one has really come to life in the second half. Down the line, it's a throwaway from Mulatto. Banana Cutters rallying in this second half, having taken a punishing run of breaks from Mulatto. Can they get a break of their own, re-establishing a 2-point margin if they can put this in?
Great strike cut there, opening up that free side, the open side of the field for Banana Cutters, and just looking a little bit too far downfield, turning his head before making the play. Joshua Lam there.
Lam not concentrating enough on the disc, thinking about the next point. Zhao almost getting the block. Fast movement, floats into the end zone, and just beyond the outstretched fingers of Joshua Lam, not able to get back and make back up for the block. You can see the exhaustion on the faces of Jared Castor, going to ground, having run the full length of the field, sprinted the whole length of the field. And the timing of that throw up the line, the final pass, Look at this disc. Lamb turns, reaches a hand, the frustration in his eyes as he sees the disc come sailing past him and into the hands of the receiver.
As for Lamb, that is difficult. That is a throw that is inch perfect. There is not a whole lot of margin for error there. Putting it right in the spot where Lamb could not get it and Castor could.
Well, what can we say about this Mulatto team and the whole game, Chris? It's been a game, literally a game of two halves. The first half dominated by strong Banana Cutters performance, the team from Vancouver, Canada, in dominant form, punishing Mulatto at every opportunity. And then the second half, every mistake that Banana Cutters has made has been returned. And as I was saying, the stats from both teams across the whole game are almost identical.
You have to wonder sometimes what changes at halftime. What changes for a team? It's weird how sports work sometimes, where all of a sudden that little break can somehow be a huge shift in momentum. Mulatto getting back on track, an opportunity to rest, reevaluate how they're running offensively, change their system. We've seen a lot more person defense here in the second half. Mulatto moving away from the zone, really not running it a whole lot, and I think much more effective so far doing so.
Well, they're such a fast team, and they've used that athleticism to close down the options. Vu opens up the shoulders, spins the arm downfield. It's hanging in the corner. What a disc that is from William Vu. Chased down tenaciously by Edward Gu. Caught in the front corner, but the distribution of Vu, high quality all the way through this game. And a great example once more of why he has the free license to throw those discs.
That is 70 yards right there from Vu. A difficult throw to make, going into the wind and putting it out on a platter. Guao running under that one. And Banana Cutters retaking the lead here, and an exciting finish in store for sure.
Heat illness strikes kids and adults alike during summer workouts. Watch for muscle cramps, fever, nausea, headache, weakness, or feeling faint. Act fast to get cool and get fluids.
Now Vu and the disc distribution from Vu has been one of the stories of this game. His point just before our break, bringing the Banana Cutters back into the lead. Tuvia catches high for Mulatto Pilipinas.
Big fan of this aerial view. Really get a chance to see the cuts develop downfield.
Throw deep, coming underneath, but clock for Nicholas Yun. He saw that and watched it all the way. Had to cut hard to get up, but rose and said, no, not today. Banana Cutters coming back downfield with a chance for a break and to put themselves within one of a place in the 17th place playoff final.
That's a huge block right there after Banana Cutters struggling a lot on defense in this second half. Mulatto looking very comfortable, especially on those deep shots.
Vu again with the arm. No surprise that he's targeting deep discs to Chan. Chan could not collect.
Two Mulatto defenders there doing a great job getting positioning, boxing out, giving absolutely no chance there for Chan to go get that.
Canedo jumps high. The disc dropped actually as he jumped, and he had to catch it near his knees, although he was in the air to do so.
Always a little bit awkward, but it does happen.
Mulatto. That's a great disc, short to Castor. Castor floats down, catches it in the face. Again, players thinking about the next pass. Francisco, who's been so solid throughout, tiniest lapse of concentration, not able to complete the catch. Banana Cutters with another chance. Back to Vu. Is he going to look deep again?
We saw that from Joshua Lamb on the last point there for Banana Cutters, looking upfield before making the catch. That time Mulatto returning the favor. Another chance to break here.
Vu throws a big fake, pop across the top. That's a nice dish from Vu. Opens up the whole field for Yun. But the Mulatto defense is there, containing Banana Cutter's deep shots. At the moment, nothing Nolek can do. Downfield, Vu sends the fake, pop down the line. Steady work, and a travel's being called. Can I come back with Vu? Francisco calling the travel. Conversation taking place between the two players as well. Not 100% happy with that call, I don't think.
There's been some calls in the second half here, I think, that Vu has been frustrated with. A couple he had called for a foul on the mark earlier. That ended up being rescinded in the end, but I think Vu a little bit frustrated with some of the calls Mulatto has made.
Xiao. And a double team mark.
We've seen that in the AUDL. Being legal there, not here. Double team call, but unbelievable play. I don't even know what just happened. I think we got to a high stall count, and the hammer went up, and we have a goal. And Nicholas Sun.
Banana Cutters on the verge of a second half recovery after continuous pressure. But as Chris called it, a last minute throw across the stack of players. It was not exactly as you'd imagined it. Mulatto. Here we go with this throw. There's a high stall count anywhere into the end zone. Read well by Nicholas Yun. That's a double happiness for him, getting the block at the other end of the field as well. Banana Cutters dominant in the first half, struggled hard and let Mulatto right back into the game, tying it at 11 each. They've traded till now, and then that big break, critical moment here. They're within one of a place in the 17th place playoff, the best of the rest after they lost their round of 32 game to the Dutch team Goed.
These two teams looking like they're going to give us a spectacular finish here, hopefully. We've seen a fantastic second half so far. A lot of cushion here right now. Great view as we get ready for this last pull, potentially a last pull of the game. Opportunity to break for the win. A second straight break here from the Banana Cutters would do it from the team from Vancouver.
Well, disc rolls between the legs, and that just provides a little extra time for the defense to arrive down there. Banana Cutters throwing a zone just like they did in the first half. Can Mulatto move the disc nicely? Yes, they can. Down to Tavia. Tavia throws the big fake down the line. And an arcing disc across. So much space now opens up on the far side of the field. Mulatto advancing, shot to the end zone. They've made light work of the Banana Cutters zone, but they're not into the end zone yet. Floats around, catches in the wind. There's going to be some defense, but it's read better by Mulatto. And they are a clean hold, but they still need to come out on defense and stop the Banana Cutters offense from scoring. That big break a point ago, the difference between these two teams at the moment. But Chris, that work around that zone was textbook stuff from the team from the Philippines.
Absolutely, textbook zone offense. That was fantastic to watch. Working it back and forth across the sidelines, using those throws over the top, not letting the cut ever really get set. It looked like they were trying to run a four-person cup. It's going to be really difficult to get it off those sidelines, trapping it there. In the end, Mulatto doing a good job, never letting it really get set. Needing this point, though. Mulatto. 14-13 here.
On the edge of our seats, up on the scaffolding tower, myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Chris McGlynn. And the pleasure of bringing you this second half of Ultimate. An extra bonus game after this morning's quarter-final matchups. These two teams having travelled to the World Championships, fighting tooth and nail for the position that they can get, the 17th place spot. Exchanging discs quickly down the line, but Banana Cutters with a chance to get themselves into that 17-18th playoff place. Vu and into the end zone, and it's a score. Vu and Guao exchanging discs on the front corner, and Banana Cutters have played a second half that they might want to forget big portions of, but in the end, grit and determination will out, and they have hung on by the skin of their teeth, forced a big break against Mulatto, and the team from Vancouver, Canada have won this semi-final and got themselves into that 17th to 18th playoff place, the highest position that they could finish after they lost their round of 32 game.
Now that is an incredible second half of Ultimate from both teams. What we just saw was a fantastic effort from Mulatto to climb all the way back in that game, tie it up at one point after trailing at 6 at halftime. And then, of course, great job by the Banana Cutters to see it out. It's really easy to see how that momentum could have just carried Mulatto the rest of the way. Banana Cutters could have folded after how quickly some of those points went. They striked well. Mulatto coming very close. A lot of credit to them for making that second half comeback, but in the end, Banana Cutters seeing it out, getting a chance to play for 17th. And that's definitely nothing to turn your head at. That's a really, really good result still. This is the best teams in the world playing at this tournament here. This is a difficult competition, competing over the course of about 8 days. To continue to try and press out here and continue to move and play at this high of a level is impressive.
Well, the distribution of William Vu, one of the highlights from this game. 5 assists and 2 goals from the big #1 shirt for Banana Cutters. We see some of the highlights of the game.
Can't wait to see what comes next. Banana Cutters getting the win here. Incredible finish after what looked like a rather lopsided first half. Really, really excited to bring it all to you. Hope everyone enjoyed, and we'll be back, of course, again tomorrow with more games on the schedule. Semifinals coming up for those championship brackets.
That high grab, and all these players putting their bodies on the line to bring us incredible action here. No matter that they're out of the championship bracket, the ultimate is still so important to every player. The bids, the athleticism from both these teams has been remarkable and a real spectacle, and we do hope you've enjoyed it. From Tom Stiles and Chris McGlynn in the commentary booth, and Kate Yeski doing our stats, and the whole Fulcrum Media team in the commentary box. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you back here in Cincinnati soon.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.